Welcome to Comics Are Awesome, brought to you by Alter Ego Comics. I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And we're here to talk about this week's best comics, few though they may be. I can't say that very quickly. Light week for comics, but you know what you can do on those light weeks? You can pick up a book that you passed on previous weeks. So might I suggest Old Man Hawkeye, #1, which came out last week along with Avengers 675, and it seemed like that was the battle for people's dollar. Was do I get this or do I get that? You should check out Old Man Hawkeye. Just saying. Happened to be my pick of the week last week. My pick of the week this week, Super Sons #12. This is the finale of the Super Sons of Tomorrow storyline, featuring a character that we know and love from the future who comes back to put an end to Jonathan Kent, who will end up causing horrific things in the future. Maybe. Who knows? But it features the Teen Titans and Damian and John and Superman and Batman and all kinds of awesome stuff.
And some other characters we've seen not in the new universe,
no,
that are also from the future.
Pre-rebirth characters. This was just a great 5-part story. Fun read. Great characterization. It was a joy to read. Written by Peter Tomasi and Patrick Gleason, who have been the regular writing team on Superman since Rebirth started. And this had everything I wanted. It was everything I wanted it to be. Now that the 5-part story is over, it left some breadcrumbs that could be picked up and eaten, and could be plot threads, let me say that, which we could see in future issues. I really am growing to like Damian as a character. I know you liked him before because you were reading Batman and Robin. Now, Tomasi was doing Batman and Robin,
he
right?
was.
Okay. So maybe I might go back and read Batman and Robin now, as long as there are no pig-faced people in it.
I like Damian when he's with other people.
Yeah.
So him and John, or him and Bruce, or him and Dick. Him and Dick's really good because of the dissonance in personalities.
But to see the relationship between John and Damian, and I guess John is like 10 in here, 10, 11. Damian is at least 13 because he's in the Teen Titans, and apparently you need to be 13 to be a member of the Teen Titans.
A teen.
Yes. But just so good. I like that. I like their relationship as much as I like the Batman-Superman relationship, or it's approaching that. But it's completely different than the Batman-Superman relationship. So if you have not checked out Super Sons of Tomorrow, I highly recommend you go back and seek out the previous issues. Again, the finale is out this week in Super Sons #12.
My pick of the week this week is Mighty Thor #703, written by Jason Aaron with art by Russell Dauterman. And this whole storyline has been called The Death of the Mighty Thor. And we're getting closer and closer to that. And this is a great kind of... Aaron paid more attention to the rest of the Marvel Universe than it probably deserved for this issue. He's gathering together people who are important to Jane Foster. Basically, I think it's almost everyone who knows that Jane Foster is Thor. So it's the unworthy Thor Odinson, Sam Wilson...
Falcon?
Well, he's still Falcon in this, yes. Or he's Falcon again in this. Doctor Strange, Mystic Veterinarian, and Roz Solomon, the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent from the Aaron run, who was friends with Thor and has now taken Jane's place on the Council of the Senate of Asgardia, or whatever their weird Council of Worlds is. And it's basically an intervention. They're trying to say, being Thor is killing you. Every time you transform, the magic burns the scientific healing stuff, the chemotherapy drugs out of your system. You can't keep doing this. You're going to kill yourself. And obviously, if you want an expert on choosing not to be Thor, you've got the Thor Odinson. If you want an expert on magic and its interaction with medicine, Doctor Strange is the best at both those. So it's very heartfelt, but intercut with that very gripping human or godly drama, we get Mangog just laying the crap into Asgard, fighting Heimdall and Bor and bringing it on, calling out the Allfather. So it's everything that is great in a Thor story. You've got an epic battle, but you've also got very real human moments. Jason Aaron's Thor run is really amazing. And kind of tying into that, over in Doctor Strange, written by Donny Cates with art by Gabriel Hernandez Walta, we get Doctor Strange, who last issue basically went to Asgard and became God of Magic, which apparently is not caught up to Mighty Thor yet, because he didn't appear to have God of Magic powers at the time. Basically going to his old house on Bleecker Street. Is it Bleecker Street? What's in Greenwich Village? Or is that where... is Bleecker Street where
The only thing I know on Bleecker Street is John's Pizza on Bleecker Street. It's the best pizza I've ever had. You should go there.
Basically, he goes up to the door of the Sanctum Sanctorum, which Loki now runs as the new Sorcerer Supreme, and basically calls out Loki for a big throwdown magical fight. And I love that it wasn't a straight brawl. It was kind of in the feeling of the wizard duel from Sword in the Stone, where Merlin fights and they do the transformations, and they go to different dimensions and stuff, and super awesome.
Not the Sorceress duel from Willow?
No, that was...
That was brought to you by Willow.
Willow.
The movie that none of you have seen.
You are great.
Go watch it. George Lucas, Ron Howard, Val Kilmer.
It's probably basically what Han Solo will be like in a couple months.
It's essentially Lord of the Rings. Yeah, who knows? I'm sorry.
No, that was
more.
It was just it was Doctor Strange.
Anytime
Asgard.
that I can go, and then have that person spinning around.
You're drunk. When you're drunk, you forget I am in charge.
I am the leader.
Kevin Pollak's greatest performance, probably.
Oh,
in Willow.
Yes. Yes.
As a drunk brownie.
I'm trying to remember the dust of what? What was it called?
The dust of broken hearts.
The dust of broken hearts. Screening of Willow at Alter Ego. No. Next up for me is Champions number 16. This is Champion for a Day, Part 1. So why am I talking about this? Number 1, Champions is an excellent series. It's been great from the get-go. I highly recommend it to everybody. Really, this book is for everybody. We've essentially got all of the younger heroes in the Marvel Universe on a team together, including Nova and Totally Awesome Hulk and Young Cyclops, Ms. Marvel, Miles Morales Spider-Man, Nadia Pym. Plus, they are basically on a recruitment drive because they've lost, arguably, their most powerful member, Viv Vision, who, spoiler alert, has been transformed into a real girl by Geppetto. No, by Jiminy Cricket.
Blue Fairy,
yes.
obviously.
So there is some great family dynamic stuff in here with the Vision and how he's adjusting or not adjusting to having an actual flesh and blood daughter, and he also has created when he thought Viv was dead, he created a new version. So they're sisters, and it's just, there's a lot of cool stuff going on in here, but we also get to see, I guess, the team dynamic of what do we do when someone that we care about is essentially depowered, and we need that muscle on the team, so we need to go out and find a replacement. How is she going to react to that? Do we need to be concerned about that? She's our friend, blah, blah, blah. It's just great. It's great storytelling. Mark Waid and Humberto Ramos are the creators on here, and because it's Part 1, I recommend you jumping on this series. I think you'll be able to figure everything out if you've never read it before. If you've never read it before, you'll read this and want to go back and read more. If you are continuing to read Champions, thank you for supporting one of the best comics being published today. We need to do that more often.
And if you like Tom King's Vision, I think this would definitely be in your wheelhouse with all the Viv and Vision stuff. Actually, there's a callback to it in one of them, isn't there?
I think it's this one, yeah.
Next up for me, Batman 39, written by, Tom King! With art by Joel Jones, and it is no secret that I love Joel Jones' artwork, and this time she gets to draw some really wicked stuff. Basically, so is this character real or made up?
I am not familiar.
I mean, they're all made up
character.
because it's fictional.
It's with DC and Marvel's library of characters.
I just assume it's real.
I don't know all of them. I don't know if we've ever seen this person before. Who's this called?
The Gentleman.
The Gentleman.
So we get someone who Batman and Wonder Woman may have allied themselves with in the past, called the Gentleman. Maybe he's new and they're just adding it. Maybe he's old and I've never read that. But either way, it was interesting. And basically, it involves Batman and Wonder Woman going off to fight hordes of mystical monsters as a favor to this person. And we also get some really great stuff with Catwoman and the Gentleman. Selina's a very internalized person. She doesn't have a lot of Sharefest stuff, so it's always kind of hard to put your finger on where she's at and kind of pin down what's going on. So I really like anytime we get to see King write her and see kind of where she's at with this whole engagement thing, which is why I love the her and Lois stuff in the last story arc. But just super great. Every issue of King stuff is good. And if you like Batman and Wonder Woman fighting stuff, you can maybe throw in Superman and check out Trinity this week. It's a new storyline where they go in search of Themyscira and wind up maybe somewhere different. But anytime you put the Trinity together, it is awesome to read. And this time, we've got kind of a neat situation. They're on an unknown place. Clark's depowered. Diana's blind. So it's neat to see the way they depend on each other, even when they're not in their normal power level, their normal abilities.
Finally, for me this week, Superman number 39, written by Pete Tomasi and Patrick Gleason, the writers behind Super Sons. Artwork by Barry Kitson, so we don't see Kitson penciling anything on a regular basis these days.
Did he ink himself too? Because that's very
he got excited and
old
inked
school
himself.
inks.
He did, and Scott Hanna is along for the ride as well. So this is a done-in-one feel-good story called Goodnight Moon, where Superman takes a kids' cancer ward on a field trip to space, and kind of enlists his Justice League friends to help make these kids' lives a little happier and to give them a day that they'll never forget. It's got all the feels. If that's what you're looking for, and that's what I'm looking for in comics. You want to read comics that impact you, but it's definitely hits you in the heart. Good stuff. And I can't say this with absolute certainty, but I think this is Tomasi and Gleason's last issue of Superman. James Robinson.
That's where all the feels come
James
from.
Robinson is doing issue 40.
James Robinson, who's writing Trinity.
Who also did Trinity. Yeah. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. I've actually read an advance copy of Robinson's first issue of Superman, and I really enjoyed it. It felt very organically connected to the Tomasi Gleason stuff. So.
And Robinson wrote Starman and what was the
Golden Age.
Golden Age, yes.
Yeah.
Golden Age was amazing. And that's sort of in continuity now, right? Or is that part of... Okay, I thought it was kind of in continuity now. Doesn't matter.
I don't
know. Last up for me, a kind of weird pick. We've got 3 Rooms in Valerie's Head from Top Shelf. This is an OGN in a more of a comic panel style, but it's got really pretty watercolored art. Well, I mean, it's penciled art, but then it's watercolor coloring. And it's super weird. Basically, you've got a structure... Sorry, let me start off there. Start off by again. The writer is David Gaffney, and the cartoonist is Dan Barry. There's some credits here from them, but I've never heard of them. Apparently, Barry was nominated for an Eisner. Dark comedy about love, loneliness, accumulating baggage, and letting go. Basically, this woman, let's say Valerie, since that's the name of the title, has this construct where she thinks about her life as an apartment, and the things she doesn't want to think about she pushes down to the basement, but when she thinks about it she drags it up into the main room. And this is her kind of cataloging her past relationships, some of the men she has dated, and it sort of walks you chronologically through her life. It's really well written. It's sort of they don't say a lot about anything. All the stuff they talk about is inane kind of day-to-day stuff, but what's revealed through the conversations they have, the reasons they get together, the reasons they break up, is super awesome. I was not super thrilled with the ending of the story, but the way they got there was really, really great. So if you like stuff like Adrian Tomen's Shortcomings as the original GM, I can't think of what the recurring book is called. You know the one I'm talking about. There was a circular
vertical by Adrian Tomen.
I'll put it on the thing.
In the notes, comments.
Or Liz...
Lemon.
No, you're not helping. She did the art on Toady and the Creepies. She does a lot of... Oh my
God.
Will You Still Love Me If I Wet the Bed? Liz... Anyway.
Word Association Day.
If you like autobio comics or comics that are about people and relationships more than about punching, this is a great example in that genre, if that's something like. And now all I can think of is Liz Lemon. And I'm normally thinking of Liz Lemon, but that's not what I want at this exact moment.
Yes. Well, there you have it. Our finest episode yet. If you've stuck with us this long and you enjoyed this week's episode, please give us a thumbs up on YouTube.
Please tell us why.
So that it gets in front of more people to see us babble incoherently about comics that we think are
Optic
awesome.
Nerve. Adrian Tomen's series is Optic Nerve.
I'm just going to draw this out until everything comes back to Josh. Please stand by. Join us in our private Facebook group for Comics Are Awesome, where we continue the conversation. We post our picks every week, including picks by Alex, who doesn't get featured in the videos because someone has to run the store. And what else? That's about it. If you have any questions, let us know, and we always appreciate you watching. If you appreciate the videos, let us know so we keep making them. And I'm just going to quit here. It's been a day. It's still cold here. Hopefully it's warm by you.
Yes.
We'll see you next time.
Godspeed.